All right, this is a really good read. Theodore Butler, you know him as Ted Butler from butlerresearch.com. This article, I think he wrote for 24hgold.com or 24hourgold.com. He has this article, great, fantastic analogy to put it. This is when I was telling you that about my other video where I said anyone, I already forgot it. Already forgot what it was called again. Hang on. It's going to bother me if I don't get the name of this video, my video. For those who have lost faith in precious metals. I did that video on the 11th of December. So Ted Butler has this article from the 15th of December, just a few days later. It goes in line with what I was saying, and he has a great analogy. This is why you sit, and I said before, you pray to the J.P. Morgan God and say, J.P. Morgan God, I want to thank you for blessing me with a low, low price of precious metals. You've enabled me to purchase these things at incredibly low prices, and I know when you're ready for it, the prices will rise dramatically, and I'll be riding your coattails. That's what I said. Doesn't sound right, doesn't make it right. We know they manipulate it, and it does piss us off that they do this practically in broad daylight now. They're even caught. Deutsche Bank, you guys have been rigging it. We admit it. Here's the chat conversations with all these other banks who are involved. And here we lie. Gold and silver being slammed over the last few days. Slammed pretty good, by the way. Silver has actually touched, it was the low of the day today, which is the 15th of December. The low of silver was 1577. I'm telling you now, it wasn't that long ago that it did hit 20, right? Or, yeah, 20. 19 some change, then hit 20, back down, whatever. That's $5, roughly. JP, like I said, price line negotiator. Go ahead, big shot. Ask him to go lower. Lower? Yeah, go ahead. It's not enough. Go lower. JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, 1577. That's not enough. Come on, big shot. Ask him to do 12. How about 10? How about 5 or 6? Could you imagine $5 or $6 silver? What would happen? The shelves would be clean off on every precious metal dealer across the world. JP Morgan and Jamie Dimon, CEO, you don't have a hair on your hiney if you can't push the price down that low. And I want to see you do it. I triple dog dare ya. This is nothing. Remember that from the Christmas story? Jamie Dimon, I triple dog dare ya. Ooh. Can't back down from that, Jamie Dimon. Jason at 4 triple dog dare you. In order to make a point, I'm going to address a very popular question. And he calls this the royal flush, as his article. I'm going to address a very popular question by giving the answer first and then providing the question. The answer does involve a bit of imagining on your part. I ask you to picture yourself at the highest stakes poker game imaginable, where quite literally many billions of dollars are at stake, and in which you have just been dealt the indisputable best hand possible, which is a royal flush in poker terms, right? Please accept that you are guaranteed to win. There's nothing higher than a royal flush, and it's an extremely rare chance for you to get that. But again, it's the best hand ever. And for anyone that has no idea what that is, I'm just going to help you out, because I do like to play Texas Hold'em every now and then with family and kids. You have the same color cards, like they're all red. Oh no, actually, it's not the color. It's the suit and whatever. So you have spades. You have all spades in this example, or all diamonds, let's say, and you have 8, 9, 10, or 10, 11, or 10, 11. I can't even talk right now. 10, Jack, Queen, King, Ace, okay? And they're all the same suit or whatever, like diamonds or whatever the hell it is, right? So that's the point. You can't get any better than that. And it's been a while since I played. I apologize. I can't even talk right when it comes to poker right now. So he says it's the last deal of the game with winner takes all. The pot is enormous. Wait a minute. Stand by. Stand by. All right, back. So it's the last deal of the game. Winner takes all. The pot is enormous, and all the other participants have been dealt very high and normally winnable hands and are flush with funds. And every player is intent on raising and re-raising as each new bet is made. You have plenty of betting funds left and know that you must win in the end. So it is obvious that you will sit back and enjoy the circumstances and hope the raising and re-raising will continue for as long as possible, making the once-in-a-lifetime pot as large as possible, tens and hundreds of billions of dollars. The most popular question in silver, and the one I ask myself daily, is when will JP Morgan finally decide it holds enough silver and lets the price rise? The answer is only when it has to. By virtue of its massive physical holding of silver, and I've covered this with you guys, they've been buying physical silver for a while at quite large amounts and have stockpiled an enormous amount, which is more than 500 million ounces and growing. JP Morgan has as much incentive to rush the price resolution as you would have to end early the imaginary poker game. JP Morgan has been guaranteed to win the real silver game of a lifetime ever since its physical holdings came to exceed its COMEX paper short position, a threshold it crossed in late 2011 or early 2012. Ever since then, JP Morgan has sat back, content to add to its physical silver holdings at decreasing prices because it knew it must win in the end. As much as a royal flush in poker, silver is guaranteed to be a huge winner for JP Morgan for the simple reason that the bank controls the market. Don't believe me? Then try explaining how it is possible, since acquiring Bear Stearns and their short position in 2008, that JP Morgan has never taken a loss, only profits, on every COMEX short silver position it has ever taken, all while being the largest short holder. Not only does JP Morgan have a perfect record on the short side of the COMEX silver futures for nearly 9 years running, for the past nearly 6 years making paper profits in the billions of dollars by shorting paper contracts, was not even the bank's greatest achievement. That honor must be reserved for JP Morgan's accumulation of more than 500 million ounces of actual metal, all on price declines it rigged itself. Based upon those two circumstances, is it possible for any entity to demonstrate greater control over any market than JP Morgan has done in silver? What's more remarkable about what JP Morgan has achieved in silver is that it occurred in full view. Certainly, a review of JP Morgan's financial performance in shorting COMEX silver futures based upon COT report, which is the Commitment of Traders report data, reveals the bank has never taken a loss or bought back short positions at higher prices than originally shorted. Normally, holding massive short positions on a volatile commodity like silver would be thought to be very risky and lead to losses at some point, at least once in a while, except of course if the game was rigged. As the largest and most successful short seller in COMEX silver futures over the past 9 years, JP Morgan was the unquestioned primary silver price rigger. But JP Morgan is so smart and powerful and crooked that it figured out an even better means of enriching itself, apart from the billions of dollars it made in shorting COMEX silver futures cumulatively since March 2008. The successful and profitable short-selling campaign that JP Morgan orchestrated in COMEX silver is predicted on declining prices. There's no way massive short-selling can be profitable if prices rise instead of falling. Further, even if you succeed for years in successfully rigging prices lower, as I claim JP Morgan has done, sooner or later prices will fall to such ridiculously low levels that they then must rise, most likely in the same ridiculous manner in which they fell. At some point, the jig would be up on the downside rig job. This is so basic that it would be foolish to think it would be lost on JP Morgan, the smartest player of all. JP Morgan knew when it started to acquire physical silver in April 2011 that this was the only way it could successfully conclude its wildly profitable long-term shorting campaign in COMEX silver futures. The only thing it couldn't know was how much silver it could acquire before the COMEX paper shorting scam ran its course. But there was no way the bank would ever pull the plug on its control of the COMEX price discovery process while there was physical silver still to be acquired. Not while it was holding the best royal flush ever. No one would end the game early in these circumstances, and it is unreasonable to expect JP Morgan to do so. Therefore, silver investors are better advised to focus on the what instead of the when, although I will admit this falls into the do as I say and not as I do category. Besides, since when can anyone ever know the when? The what is easy. Silver is cheap as dirt because it has been paper shorted into the ground, and on top of that, there is compelling evidence that the premier world financial institutions have amassed more of it on a physical basis than any private entity in history. Over the past few years, I've tried to outline from where JP Morgan has accumulated this historic hoard of physical silver. Conversions of shares to metal in the big silver ETF known as SLV, of which JP Morgan, by the way, is the custodian, led the way, but there were important sources of supply from skimming the highly unusual COMEX silver warehouse movements and direct purchases of silver eagles from the U.S. Mint. Interestingly, all these sources of actual physical supply to JP Morgan began around the same time, April 2011. Not the largest, but clearly the most transparent source of physical silver supply for JP Morgan has been in deliveries against COMEX futures contracts, from 0 ounces in April 2011 to 5 million ounces in April 2012, and on to more than 80 million ounces today. The COMEX silver warehouse of JP Morgan has become the largest in the COMEX system. This year, JP Morgan has taken delivery of more than 6,000 net silver futures contracts. Contracts stopped minus contracts issued, all in its own proprietary trading account. That's more than 30 million ounces of silver acquired by JP Morgan, most of which eventually found its way into the bank's COMEX warehouse. What is truly remarkable when you study the data is how glaringly dominant JP Morgan has been in stopping silver deliveries this year and last year too. Shortly after the current COMEX December delivery commenced earlier this month, I estimate that JP Morgan may stop the maximum number of silver contracts allowed in a single month, 1,500 contracts or 7.5 million ounces. As it turns out, through yesterday, JP Morgan has already taken over 1,400 silver contracts. JP Morgan last stopped the full 1,500 contracts allowed last May and took less than the amount in the 4 other traditional delivery months of last year, excluding the current month. Previously, I had attributed JP Morgan stopping less than the full number of silver contracts allowed on those occasions to the bank not wishing to tighten the wholesale physical market to the point of sending prices higher. Therefore, I was somewhat surprised when it became clear that JP Morgan intended to take so many silver deliveries this month. Then it dawned on me that the main reason JP Morgan stood for so many silver deliveries this month is because it knew that one of its customers would make a sizable silver delivery this month of nearly 700 contracts, or half of what JP Morgan stopped in its own name. At least JP Morgan had to know before anyone else that its customer would make such a large delivery, and also knew that the 700 contracts involved wouldn't add to physical tightness, giving the bank a green light to take many more contracts than in more recent months. Like so many other things, JP Morgan acquiring silver in its own name from a customer suggests a strong conflict of interest and quite literally stinks to high heaven. The big stinker, of course, is that the bank, being the dominant COMEX paper short, never taking a loss and driving silver prices lower for years on end, while being the largest stopper of COMEX silver deliveries and accumulator of physical silver at those same depressed prices. Remember, I am basing this on public data from the CFTC and COMEX, and if you have any questions about this, please let me hear from you. I would also ask you to consider in what faraway universe would JP Morgan's actions be considered proper or legal? The bottom line on all this is that silver will go, as in up, when JP Morgan deems it so. There's nothing we can do to affect the timetable, so it's counterproductive to even think in those terms, although it sure is natural to think that way. There is only one way to handle an event that is certain to occur, but at a time that can't be pinpointed, by preparing for the certainty beforehand. JP Morgan's downward manipulation of the silver price in order to accumulate the largest hoard of silver in history further assures the outcome. The whole manipulation is somewhat complex until fully vetted, but the preparation for it is as simple as it gets. Buy and hold silver. It's about as hard as falling off of a log. Think about that. JP Morgan is amassing an incredible amount of silver. Physical. I want to get physical. JP's getting physical. Let me watch the comics drop. As in the price. Like I said in the beginning, say a prayer to JP Morgan, the god known as JP Morgan, false god, and also their false god leader, Jamie Dimon, because he's actually doing you a favor. You don't know it. He's doing you a favor. Ride the coattails of the biggest manipulator in the world. They're doing it. They're affecting us all. And since the CFTC, the regulatory agency, we never find any of these people guilty. We never, ever find a claim legit against any kind of rigging of precious metals, ever, no matter how incredible the evidence is. Nope, nothing to see here. So if that's the way they want to play, and it's their job, all of them, to keep the price down, JP Morgan, the government, they want the price down. Why would JP Morgan be amassing incredible amounts of physical silver? Because if the price does go up and the whole comics paper thing implodes, and we no longer use it as the price setting mechanism, something else will have to take over, probably China. They're already set for it. And oh my God, the prices are exploding. We've never seen anything like this in our life. Oh, well, that's funny. JP Morgan's got, 500 million ounces. JP Morgan will be the richest bank on the face of the earth just by that move alone. Okay? That's why I tell you all, I'm a stacker. I don't play with gold, although I've thought recently maybe I should get a little bit of gold. Because back in the day I had a little bit, sold it for silver. And I've been buying silver. But I thought to myself, I do have my gold met in silver. Should I get some gold? And then just something in the back of my mind says, no, get some 10-ounce bars or something. Instead of the single coin, get some 10-ounce bars. Okay. That's what I keep hearing myself tell myself, if you will. Okay. And I'm not hearing that JP Morgan is acquiring massive amounts of gold. They're acquiring massive amounts of silver. If you're a fly on the wall, you do what the people around you are doing. That's why you're the fly on the wall. What are these elitists doing? I'm going to replicate what they're doing. And as I said before, it doesn't matter if you have gold or silver or both. They're both going to do fantastic. Again, when the time comes, when JP Morgan says it's okay, so to speak. Not until then. So, and yes, Bull Pony is out there again. I just read an article on silver doctors. Making some more absurd claims. I'm not even going to go into it. I'm already reading the comments, and they're eating him alive. So I don't know that he did a video or not. I haven't even checked, but it was on silver doctors, and people are like yelling at silver doctors, "Stop posting this crap! This guy's got to move the date again." One side of me, poor Bull Pony. The other side of me, he gets what he deserves. You don't take advantage of people. What goes around comes around. Anyways, I'm out. Take care.